room today and consider the outpouring of emotion and support that we've seen over the past 3 weeks since the general's death, it is so clear that he made an incredible difference in our lives. A father, a grandfather, a great leader of a nation, and a history maker, General Vang Pao was also an American patriot of the highest order, courageous in times of war, and a giant in encouraging American citizenship within the Hmong American community in times of peace. The city of Fresno's connection with General Vang Pao runs very deep. I think many of you know that while the general lived in Orange County, he considered the city of Fresno his second home. I've been told that he spent about 70% of his time here in Fresno because of his commitment to the lives of the members of the Hmong American community here. He was seen in Fresno every year attending the Hmong New Year's celebration. And we were all moved by General Vang Pao's appearance in the Fresno Veterans Day Parade in 2009. I will always think of General Vang Pao as a central figure in helping to create the diversity that Fresno celebrates and that we are so blessed with here in Fresno. In 1979, when Fresno had only a few members of our Hmong community, General Vang Pao began telling Hmong from other places to move to Fresno. He said Fresno was a place where they could use their own hands to work and to be proud of themselves and to feed their families. And since that time, with General Vang Pao's continued encouragement, Fresno is now home to one of the most robust Hmong communities in the world. I particularly respected General Vang Pao's message to young people that Fresno was a place of opportunity, a place where they could pursue an education to improve the lives of their families and improve their own lives. He loved to come to Fresno for celebrations honoring young people who earned college degrees. General Vang Pao often said that the people of Fresno opened their hearts to him and to members of the Hmong American community. But in reality, we're grateful that General Vang Pao opened his heart to Fresno more than 3 decades ago. His love of our city and the Hmong American community have meant so much to us. We in the city of Fresno are grateful for all of the contributions that General Vang Pao has made to our community. He is a great leader whose impact will last for generations to come. And as you continue the celebration of his life over the coming days, I pray God's blessing on the family and the community. Once again, welcome to Fresno, and God bless you.
Khi tất cả cha tới rồi gì à, sẽ cho nó chú sẽ đại cho phong cho như hai lù rong bò lý cha cho bé gì tham phật nhận nóประมงในผลว่าปอละbé chìm bùa thề à cho họนู่นน่ะnữ cộng chỉ tàu bé chỉ bé chìm bùa thề trở lại bé họ culture chuyện gì muốn để nó tất cả cha tới rồi gì thầu mua cho khoa là hai lù này cũng sẽ soi chế để và lù trồng trả sự bây giờ cái này giàu tư dự ở xã hai lù thì nên họ sẽ là lúc quan cho khoa và nhau cho bể hồn đề à cho họ thầu cho guest speaker là cho là mỗi lù sai lấy do thì thầu thả thì lấy họ chuyển họ thì tuần đầu mỗi lù đó chỉ là thảo sẽ được mỗi cái công ty thế tuần gì tao làm một yếu là hay cho cái lấy cái khoa cho bể chỉ thành bây giờ nóประมงในผลว่าพอย่อกรณีต้องชื่อแม่งว่า
Our next speaker on the program will come up to deliver the eulogy. And for that, we would like to invite up Lieutenant Colonel Tong Chumang Va. So Lieutenant Colonel, Thó cho có lọt cho sở sát thiên nào.
grandfather, General Vang Pao, Panya, Rapamok, it is my distinct privilege to present a few details from your life. You are often referred to as the father of the Hmong people. We can understand and appreciate this honorary title in light of today's gathering and in light of your journey, an extraordinary one that has come to define Hmong in the United States and elsewhere. The memory of your accomplishments abroad and then here in America should inspire all of us to think beyond our individual selves, to remember who we are, and to contribute to the greater good. Now, General Vang Pao was a soldier from the very beginning, and he was a leader among leaders. It is no wonder that he garnered praise and honor from different countries which awarded him their highest military honors. From the United States, he received the Legion of Merit, befitting a general officer. From France, he received their highest decoration, the Legion of Honor with the degree of Knight. And from Laos, he received the Grand Officer of the Order of the Million Elephants and the White Parasol. Again, the highest decoration from a nation, and this time directly from the king himself. But beneath the medals and the uniform, in his heart, the general was also Hmong and immeasurably proud, with an unwavering belief in the grandeur of his people. And to that end, he would strive until his final days as an American of Hmong heritage. At the age of 13, General Vang Pao worked with the French as an interpreter and messenger. Then he joined the French colonial police in 1947. For his demonstrated skills, French officers sent him to their gendarmerie non-commissioned officer school in Luang Prabang, where he became a corporal. Training as a sergeant in Vientiane followed. Further recommendations took him to the Lao Officers School in Dong Hen in Savannakhet in 1951, where the French were training Lao forces. After graduating at the top of his class in tactics and strategy in 1952, he served in the Lao Territorial Army and later as an officer in the Royal Lao Army. It was at this time in 1954 that the Geneva Accords were signed, establishing Laos, the kingdom of a million elephants and a white parasol, as a neutral sovereign state. By the end of the decade, Vang Pao was selected for battalion command, and he attended the requisite course and training in Chinaimo and Vientiane. That course was followed by a counterinsurgency program at the Scout Ranger Base in Manila, Philippines. Afterward, he took command of the Royal Lao Army's 10th Infantry Battalion on the Plain of Jars. Now, if there were a turning point in the event that determined the course of Hmong events to come, January 4th, 1961 just may be it. This was the day Lieutenant Colonel Vang Pao met Colonel Bill Lair at the Tai Viang airfield, south of Siang Kwang. A World War II veteran, Colonel Lair worked for the Central Intelligence Agency at the time, and in Vang Pao he found the determined ally that he was looking for. By 1962, Vang Pao had made full-bird colonel, and he began to build a small army, initially 1,000 strong with training at Padong, a mountaintop base south of the Plain of Jars. General Vang Pao then established his base in Long Tieng, 3,000 feet above sea level and surrounded by mountains. By 1963, the Hmong troops were 20,000 strong, and in 1964, they received the name of Special Guerrilla Units, or SGU. From 61 to 73, General Vang Pao led his troops. The degree of his success may be best described in how he fought the North Vietnamese forces to a standstill in northern Laos for a decade. That, my friends, is no ordinary accomplishment. Over the years of fighting, the Hmong would begin to transform from a farming community to a war-fighting people, and some of those took to the sky. Lilu, Watua, Wachu were the first Hmong pilots selected by General Vang Pao to fly the T-28 bomber aircraft. Many others would follow as air support became a lifeline for the Hmong people during this period. So much so that the history of the Hmong people is intertwined with names such as ravens in Air America. In 1963, General Vang Pao was promoted to Brigadier General, and then in 1965, he became commander of Military Region 2, one of 5 such regions in the Kingdom of Laos. In the same year, he was gravely wounded, and Panya Tumbilifong recalls in his memoirs the decision to wait for the general's recovery instead of assigning a new commander. General Vang Pao did return in full force, and in 1968, he earned his 3rd star as a Major General. In his remarkable military achievements earned him the title of Panya Nurapamok, or in English, Lord Protector of the Land, from His Majesty the King of Laos, King Sarang Matana. General Vang Pao inspired a whole generation of Hmong officers, from lieutenant colonels to full birds. There are too many to name. General Vang Pao also fostered Laotian unity, as soldiers from various ethnicities served loyally under his command, whether they were from the Lao majority or the minorities, such as the Koom, the Mien, the Thaidam. After the fall of Saigon in 1975, General Vang Pao and some of his officers and their families were airlifted to safety in Thailand. Because the majority of his soldiers and their families were left behind, he vigorously lobbied Washington and was instrumental in gaining congressional approval to resettle Hmong and Laotian refugees in America. As a result, nearly 100,000 Hmong and many Lao refugees from Laos have found a new home here in America. Today, the Hmong number approximately 200,000 strong. In the United States of America, General Vang Pao turned his energies from military service to a new calling, as he stayed close to his Hmong people and sought to support them as they made their transitions to life in America. In 1977, he founded the first Hmong Lao nonprofit organization in Orange County, California, called Lao Family Community Incorporated. Thus started a new era of community services and leadership to create strong and prosperous Hmong American communities in the U.S. In 1985, he established the Hmong 18 Clans Council in Fresno to preserve certain cultural practices and traditions that contribute to solving problems within the community. At the same time that General Vang Pao was building strong Hmong American communities in the West, he continued to advocate for the return to freedom and democracy in Laos. He founded several pro-democracy and international human rights organizations and remained active in them. In 1981, he founded the United Lao National Liberation Front, also known as Lao National Liberation Movement, with other Lao dignitaries such as Dhau, Praya, Wong, Otong, Sumanabong, Prince Sisut Nan Japasat, Dr. Kampai Abai, Dhau Ofat Na Jampasat, General Kuprasit, General Thonglik Tok Benbun, Mr. Humphan Sayasit, and others. He supported the work of other humanitarian rights organizations, such as the Mouvement pour les droits des hommes, a Lao human rights organization based in France. He was instrumental in creating the Lao Human Rights Council, which documented human rights abuses in Laos and brought worldwide attention to attempts to forcibly repatriate Hmong political refugees back to Laos. One of the highlights of his human rights efforts involved the successful lobbying that stopped the United Nations sponsored repatriation to Laos of thousands of Hmong refugees in Thailand. This lobbying was an effort in partnership with a coalition of influential American diplomatic allies and many Hmong Americans. The success eventually led to the authorization to resettle in the U.S. the last of the recognized Hmong refugees from Wat Tham Karbak in Thailand. This last wave of 15,000 arrived in 2004. General Vang Pao's engagement in veterans issues such as House Resolution 371 and the Hmong Veterans Naturalization Act of 1997 provided for a citizen test a citizenship test waiver for Hmong veterans in specific circumstances, along with the extension of that benefit to the widows. He created Hmong veterans organizations such as the Lao Veterans of America and the Special Guerrilla Units and Families of the USA. He saw the unveiling of the Hmong Lao Soldiers Memorial Monument at the Arlington National Cemetery. Most recently, he was actively involved in efforts to recognize the right of Hmong veterans to be buried at national veterans cemeteries in this country, which exists in 39 states, so they could be with their fellow American brothers in arms. Like the true soldier and devoted leader that he was, General Vang Pao worked for the welfare of his Hmong people until his very last step. He was braving the weather to celebrate the 2011 International Hmong New Year in Fresno when he fell weak from a bout of pneumonia. And after several days at the hospital, General Vang Pao rendered his final salute on January 6, 2011. General Vang Pao loved his people. His undying wish would be that the Hmong remain strong, that they love each other, work together and prosper while maintaining a culture that contributes to the larger American identity. General Vang Pao is survived by his two former spouses, Man Song Va and Bai Lo, 25 children, 68 grandchildren, and 17 great-grandchildren from his direct line. He also has many nephews, nieces, grandnephews, and grandnieces who are like his own children. At this time, I'd like to thank those who put their hearts and minds together to provide the information that I just presented today. I'd ask you to allow me to take another moment to share a few of my own thoughts. Grandfather General Vang Pao equals Hmong, and Hmong equals General Vang Pao. The two are synonymous. He is a fixture in the landscape of Hmong history. He will remain there as a part of the ongoing story. And you and I know we will not see another like him. Time and circumstance gave rise to General Vang Pao, who touched the lives of so many, especially the American pilots and the American soldiers that he saved, that he became very close with. The General's loss is immeasurable. It reverberates across the globe. But I would say that his leadership, his service, and his sacrifice resonate beyond language, beyond culture, and beyond time. And we're here today because of and thanks to Grandfather General Vang Pao. Thank you very much.
Nhân dòng bê chỉ bột tê. Lúc xưa nó cô thọ cả bê sẽ đầu chia tan toàn cho một kế lần chạy tí xì cho nên có sẽ cảnh sát. Giờ này một kế lần chạy tí xì. Tôi chọn đó. Tao bị biến lại bê họ quay nó mà về thì chọn đã cá thì trong đó là lấy chuyện nó lù lên lại. Giờ đi bê hồ lửa nó chỉ tao tía chỉ đi nhau nó để chỉ tháo đi rau tôi yêu sao hay lu sẽ bỏ bê phong tôi yêu là sao một số thà đó và bê giờ bê đầu kia họ biết thì nó tao lại là chỉ bê mua nó chỉ là bê mà cho cái đồ này mua số thà là tao chỉ tại chỉ là bê chuối cho trong nhân bê nó thì cho trong nhân tiền nó giờ này cho tua chỉ tao trong rau này một số trên bao tiền đồ xí là chỉ này làm cho trong rau nữa giờ chỉ mua nên rau chỉ này rau đây là xí nữa lên đó trong tao để nó tháo mua cho cá sử là muab là lù.
Nhớ rằng nghĩa chỉ cứ hình trạng đại đàn của nhà cá sử nữa thọ tiền đau đâu nữa thì nên cho in nu chạy pla hết rồi chỉ lẩu nó chỉ phải nhà ổn định tới cha cho lu vì bây giờ là tuyệt trung để bây giờ cái cái sự mà chỉ ta tới lúc chưa xa để tháo thì là nè bây giờ mua món nào rồi lu tuổi chế là thếแต่是bây giờ nó thọ y chi mong trong đủ đó là hậu chỉ là lên đây và thế cái xe hạt tiền này cứ chỉ lên trà chỉ sao đi trà họ giờ tụi họ trái rồi là họ muốn chuyện đó họ trà họ gì rồi giờ chỉ phụ bê giờ tiền rồi nó nghe cái bê giờ chỉ từ xin này thọ được rồi chỉ mong chỉ mua trà bê là kia này cho này kia hạt tiền đó mà có khó tư giờ lên đây lúc con nó mù hay to lúc tụi chị kênh kia chỉ cho kế nên sao một cái từ chỉ lâu mong bây giờ bây lại càn không chờ là đã qua rồi cái cú lù cha sợ đi nào chứ và chứ chỉ xe thì nên là chỉ phụ bây chưa các sự này cứ chỉ nên trả
cho nên giờ chỉ giờ phong giờ yêu sẽ đấy à thà y bàn gì thì giờ bây giờ chỉ muốn đi nữa chuyện này giàu tôi hiểu tôi hỏi thì bây mua cho nó chỉ mình là cái trong tủ là tôi giàu nữa nên giờ bây chỉ lấy giờ cho yếu là hài lù yếu là sau bây mông ra sau bây gì thay này phun ra sau bây gì thay này phun cho mình tôi mình nhiều ra chỉ giờ lên đó giờ này cho muốn đi nụ mà một cái chiều lấy giờ đó chỉ muốn đi giàu tôi hiểu là giờ sau thả lù พื่อก็cho làm mua lù đó lấy cái là hài lù tao tôi bây sẽ để nó nữa
ก็หาโอซามองถกไปเอาบ้างแล้วปง
cái gì đó là một tôi nhớ là một hai lần gì đó là một giờ pe ít tuổi tôi mong thì người city council member Vang Pao nhớ cho Fresno.
We understand this is a long program, but we appreciate your patience because there are quite a few people who have remarks to give and to honor and to remember the general, so please be patient. I would like to invite our next speaker to come up here. I would like to have Fresno City Council member Vang, if you could make your way up to the stage, please. This is one of the first Hmong folks elected to the Fresno City Council. So Vang.
Nhai Zong, and good morning. Nhai Zong, bây giờ mong cái tin nên chàng. Cú Zong sa, hay là sĩ của mình chỉ tu sa ha. Ta giải tao mới xuất lên, tao ở Fresno. Dù bây giờ cho mình mẹ Ashley Swanger. Họ tu sa mà, bây giờ là bây giờ này phần luôn thấy nhau hồn nó. Hôm nay của sáng hôm cho, chỉ là phần này chuyện này. Mê lưu Central Committee, mê tập bồi lưu sẽ hỏi cho cô, hello. Hai cô sáng hôm cho tăng cho bên mong, cho tốt lệ tôi dễ, cho bán, ở bên luôn để nó, có lưu, có rong, chỉ nhau cho biết tôi xin phép con. Ở mê sẽ lâu cho, chỉ mong mê, bây giờ chỉ tao lưu lưu lên nó. Cô sáng hôm cho nà này phone ha. Vì ta nằm mò nữa tao cho cô thảm minh gì. Tao谈到呀，他都是古三下单的，他叫了霍卡古，古三下可能一个三个别说拿民警，被奶奶碰到下就古是吧？谈到呀，都是好古，就二号路那的，被只能碰嘛人路，被路的桥下路被蒙个，这就拿就没都拿就碰就都下就很难来过去哈。还是好正经去安了嘛？在奶奶碰到还的，那么我到没路适合，我到没不被进来碰，我就看用沙根高，这头能到找不来，我三的可能也好正经觉得被男孩子不是，我三的呢孩子被说了单车。là biết chính là phong lên đời nó biết xuất lại những tu sa, hay là xí lúc xí hải nó biết to, biết chắc ăn tao bù biết chính là phong ý sản gì, cú sa ta, biết nào tao là cái biết xuất lại rong sa, กับไปชดเลยรองชากับไปสักปวงแห่งขดาไปสีนาพลในเตาลูกเป้ในเตาจอไปตัวได้เฉยน้องในเตาป้าไปชดละตัวเลยได้เฉยบ้าแม่ให้ในเตาเฉยอย่ารู้เฉยยังจะไปอย่าไปต้องเขาในอย่ารู้จะไปตอนในจอผมก็มองให้ในรู้ไม่มองLet me take this opportunity to thank the General's family and the Central Committee for giving me an opportunity to speak. But more importantly, to all of my Hmong community. Although I'm elected today, and I want to thank you on behalf of the city of Fresno, but also as a Hmong for your tremendous work that have come together to make sure that this funeral service is appropriate for our father. Without your help, without your commitment, without your passion, and without your love, we would not be able to accomplish these things. But also to our dignitaries that have come far and near, to our royal guests and prince. Thank you for wanting to come and being here and sharing in his memory and his legacy. It means a great deal to us. But to our mainstream friends that are here, my colleagues, mayor, elected officials across the country, it is this type of friendship, it is this type of support that the General has worked hard to build so that you can help our community. Your friendship and support during these times have been of tremendous help as our community transition and mourn. As a Hmong community member, I am so happy and so glad that we have so many friends. And we as a community will never forget that. But especially to all those mayors that work that will probably not be recognized, to our officers, to the special people that work with our guests here, I want to congratulate you for putting this event on. What you do here not only represent the Hmong community, but give this city an opportunity to host this event. And that I want to thank my colleagues and our mayor. But I do have a responsibility quickly on behalf of our mayor and my council colleagues. And it's a proclamation from the city of Fresno. There are many whereases, so I won't delay the whereases, but I will read the last part. And it says, "Now, therefore be it resolved that while General Vang Pao has gone on to a better world, the memory of his great deeds will continue to inspire future generations of Hmong people, and the wisdom of his words will continue to guide them toward a bright future. General Vang Pao may be gone from this earth, but his spirit remains forever in the hearts and mind of his people." And I will hand this over to the family, and it is signed by all the council members and the mayor. Thank you very much.
Tôi là một hai lần gì tạm đây là ya bây tôi phát hiện nhau cho họ bây luôn trong là thì nơi ya James Costa như tôi phát hiện nhau cho district nền gạo là ya koom nền gạo.
The next speaker we would like to invite up is Congressman Jim Costa. Jim Costa represents California's 20th district. Jim.
Tất cả cha tới rồi gì thọ bê tù nên làm một hai lù là giờ thọ bê nhau tiêu này, giờ sẽ bê một kiểu là bê mà bê sao suy thạ.
Najong, it is my honor to be with you this afternoon.
Nếu tên nhớ rằng của rong xia tên hữu nọ của tôi tôn thân nên nhớ trong nó thia.
General Vang Pao's widow and family, Mayor Swearinger, elected officials, honored guests of the Hmong and Lao families throughout our communities, and our soldiers, our veterans who served honorably in Vietnam and in all of our conflicts. Thank you for allowing me to be your guest this afternoon.
One day now, cô sẽ là hai lưu châu, giờ lo thân là phong tụ bao nhiêu, thế thì cho mình nhỏ, thế tụ cho mình nhớ cho họ lúc sáng nó thế, ý trong nhiệt gì cái tí năng trà sẽ đào, cô sẽ hai châu cho tha hạ, cô tới chờ thổi thân này phong, ở chỗ này thế, chua lăng chua tụ, cô rong xía tôi sẽ chế số nó hai lưu châu nên hướng nó.
I first met General Vang Pao in the 1980s, usually at the beginning of the Hmong New Year, but later we worked together on many issues.
Thầu của xuyên chi này phong mà do hai tia thầu nó bế châu chỉ có thể lý bỏ nên tôi nói chưa bế châu sư. Đó sĩ đôi lên nói thầu là tất cả nó ước tôi là sĩ hoa liệu hoa kê chuyên đầu kế phong dư bá cho sở đợi.
Today is a difficult day, a sad day, but a day that we knew would come.
Nếu nói là yên hưu chỉ dòng gì, nếu là yên hưu tu sẽ cần gạo, đó sĩ nếu là yên hưu bây yên bỏ hay tiếng mua yên hưu yếu muộn nu nó sư.
We are here today to say goodbye to a friend.
Nu nó bây tôi sẽ chỉ nhớ cho hồn nó, do hài lù rau cơ, tôi ý tôi phong nhiều rong hẳn.
But he is more than our friend. For many, he was our father figure.
Đó sĩ bây tôi từ ní do cha ý tôi phong nhiều, tôi phẳng nâng trông nhớ cho hồn nó,ท่านนายพงษ์ยอช่วยลิตาลิไปสีละ
It has been said that he is a George Washington-like figure to the Hmong communities and Lao families here in this country and throughout the world, and I believe that to be so.
และยังมั่วลูปีท่านนายพงษ์ว่าเจอวิยาลิจอร์จวอชิงตันเจอลิในเป้าจอร์จวอชิงตันยออีตูเอลอนดอนได้ว่าลุได้แค่มีการนออีจอนี่ใช่มานายพงษ์ยังยอไปดูจอร์จวอชิงตันกุศลหายเตี้ยในมั่วนิสาตาลีนอและยังมั่วจังดีดอกหายเตี้ยนี่ยังจังจังหมอลินเดอจะไปหายในห้องเตี้ย
So today we begin the formal service under the Hmong tradition to guide his spirit home.
ไอ้ที่บินลินเดอร์นู่นนอไปเทเลปีจะได้หนูนอจอในตุพลีกับตะก้าหมดใจหนูขอเชิญ
His journey has taken him a long way.
นี่จะเกี่ยวตัวนอเชื่ออีจะยังยีนี่ยังเต้าโตได้หังนี่มาแล้วจะดอกขนอ
And for all of us, we are thankful that his spirit and his journey has lived within all of us.
ไอ้ไปเทเลป้อให้เตียนี่เต้ามูหล่อช่วยหันใหญ่ลุยเจ๋ซื้อนี่จะเกี่ยวป้าจะเกี่ยวเท่าจะเกี่ยวลูยังอยู่ย้อมมูดอดไปช่วยลังช่วยตัว
I think of our friend General Vang Pao, and I think of the following words.
กุศลจะไปตุพงยูท่านนายพงว่าปอกุศลจนนี่มาจะลูนะจะหล่อเรื่องกุลุกุศลต่าง
Courage,
กุศลจะนี่ยังอีตัวนึงว่าปังสือ
passion,
นี่ยังอีตัวกุเชียมอเชียว่าได้จิลวัติเตีย
love,
นี่มันอีจะเกี่ยวลูหล่อหัง
and vision.
เทียนนี่มันอีจะเกี่ยวเชอปอตันได้หัง
His entire life was one of courage, both in war and in peace.
การทอนในเรื่องนั่งนี่มันสาธิตเตียนี่ยังอีตัวว่าปังสือชอบเลยถ้าว่าจ้าเทียบเถ่าย่อลีนอซื้อแล้วนี่ยังอีตัวว่าปังสือขึ้นกอง
For those of us who knew General Vang Pao, he always demonstrated his passion for life.
จะไปจ่อเอโป้ท่านนายพงว่าปอรอง mà nếu như ý tu ở đó chỉ là ở thì tia nhưng mà cho cái chờ cho cái cú xe béยังbao lên nói bé cho tàu khé đây nữa rèn đó nữa.
His passion for his adopted country, his passion for his homeland.
ท่านพงnói nếu chỉ là lúc cho nếu lúc đấy chờ nếu tôi nhỏ nói hùa nếu lúc đấy chờ mi cả nó sư nếu lúc đấy chờ lo nếu lúc ta tí là nếu ยัง chuẩn yom bảo lên đó ยัง share cú cho tí ta share chỉ cho li nếu ấy tu năng share rong share lo li nó.
Madam Vang Pao, his love for you, his love for his children, his love for the Hmong people, always was demonstrated.
Chỉ ta lên đó hai cho ni cho cái lưuท่านนายพงว่าbỏ nó cho cái lưu cho ni cho mình nhỏ lưu cho bé sẵn lưu cho bé hải năng mong ít cho lo cần gấu ยัง mua tạm một số lưu sĩ hở.
And his vision as a fighter in the 1950s and the 1960s in Vietnam and in Laos, throughout Southeast Asia, his vision for freedom.
Chỉ ta lên đóท่านนายพงnhư ý tu như xả tàu kế đê như bỏ kế đê thầu ít sẽ cho bỏ trí cho mà rồi ít sẽ cho bỏ trò chọn nữa thầu lấy sĩ tua trò nhớ rồi tới chấm lò lần này dân như ý tu sĩ ra oa ta sẽ như bỏ tàu lúc họ phía theo lúc năng tận đây như ý tu bỏ kế đê hẳn.
While his vision for freedom in Southeast Asia was not always realized, his vision for freedom for his people who came to America was.
Nếu có cho kiến chờ, cái hai tia có nhớ đầu tới chờ, sa cô nụ tí, có tàu, họ nó thấu cơ, và chỉ bỏ chỉ tàu. Ta chỉ họ sĩ ra chạp lỡ, cứ tàu thế bay bỏ kia lỡ. Nên cho nên hãy nâng mong tôi thấy phải chờ, mỗi cái yêu phăng, mỗi cái vả măng, họ nó nếu qua tàu lỡ.
So his vision lives within all of us.
Giờ vì linh đó, giả nên chờ, giả nên xá bỏ nữa, tôi mua trắng là, bé thu lăng chú tù, tôi sợ chạy nó, tôi giờ vì nếu bỏ tay nó thế nếu qua tàu ba bé sợ đỡ.
His dream for human rights and human dignity.
Nếu cho kiến bảo số cho, hay để có thu lăng chú tù, là một bằng sự ý giả. Nai phong cho kiến bảo số cho hay để thu lăng số tù có một cái dư phong một bằng sự ý giả mua cái trái lên đó nếu chỉ doท่านนายพงcho kiến bảo số sư nếu chủ yếu bé thu lăng số tù bảo số ấy bé ba nữ ấy bé hòa ok.
So as we guide General Vang Pao's spirit home, his soul, we have much to be thankful for.
Giờ vì linh đó bé yo cho nữ tu pli cho nữ cho san du sa bé yo chủ là sản cho chuẩn đó ya ấy bé chuẩn luôn ấy tôi giờท่านนายพงว่าชื่อเราbé cho nó.
For General Vang Pao's dream is alive.
Đọc hỏi như mà xã thì giờท่านนายพงจะเก็บbảo số ấy cho bé sợ được tôi rồi tới chờ nó ấy cho nó bé sợ tàu là ấy hãy năng là ấyคือเขาตื่นแล้วอยากเขาตื่นนี่จะเก็บbảo số nữaตื่นหลอดจ่อเลยนี่ตื่นจ่อbéหลอดจ่อเลย
So as we celebrate his life well lived,
giờ vì linh đóนี่nó béตัวnó béตัวถาจ่อให้เตี๋ยลูกนั่งนี่ตัวอ้วนหลอดจ่อนี่ทุ่งเนาะยังใหญ่ลูกนั่งร้อง
we thank him for his contributions to our nation.
bé chưaตัวขวดจ่อหนึ่งซื้อแต่ชีbéมัวลูกจังจังตัวเท้าจ่อเท้าอ้วนจ่อตัวหนึ่งให้เตี๋ยตีเขามัวหนึ่งป้าbéเทเลอ้วนเตา
And we must keep this spirit alive by continuing to live his dream, our dream, the American dream.
นี่น่ะในชุดต้นใหญ่ไปซื้อตาชิทอที่เดียชอบพูดในเจ้าเก็บบอกชัวตาไปชัวลังชุดตัวอยู่จุดชี้รอวิกก็ย่าเดียท่านนายพงบอกชัวจอเราไปอยู่จุดป้าหนึ่งจิมวันหนึ่งแล้วเราไปอวกนี่ย่าอีคอเราอวจังจะไปเสด็จ
To all the Hmong people here gathered today and throughout the United States and throughout the world, we have much to be thankful for. God bless General Vang Pao and his family and all those who believe in freedom throughout the world and human rights.
Cú sa hai châu chấm mong ấy tu nhớ châu nó thông tế chemi cả nó thiết thông cán đủ bây muốn đâu ya ấy sa hai ô châu tới thân này phong và bảo vì hơn nữa mua ya linh đó cú sa hai ô châu cho nên thiết có bảo hữu là ba bây giờ đời ý trong những cái tin chấm mong là thiết tế chemi cả nó thiết ấy thông cán đủ nó ô lý trả là có bây sao cá sấu một thiết ấy có chua lăng chua tùแล้วเมื่อกี้ยังýอย่าง
Once again, God bless each and every one of us. We were honored to present the flag that was flown over the Capitol to honor General Vang Pao and the resolution recognizing his great service to the Hmong people and to our country.
Ý liền gì cú xã thảo công mong là phòng là sai sửa đâu chua lăng chua tù thế tụ chi nói ý tụ chi là mới cho là đâu giờท่านnày phòngนู่นนอแล้วตัวเมื่อยาไปเจอได้ย้อนไปวอชิงตันดีซีที่เจ้าเราจังเนาะเอกสารว่าเจ้าจะนี่เสด็จ
cái bây trong mong sẽ đời của bà để bây sẽ đời nhân sẽ tự tạo ra phần trong lời hay là ý khai rong để cho gia linh tôi chỉ tạo trong giàu cho các lão sửa cho trong sát bể là thế thì nó chỉ cho trong đó đây là chế trong giàu giờ thì đây cho họ một phong môi tôi xin chí đây họ sát thải bể nó là đây họ chỉ nhau nó chỉ sát thải đâu nó này đây thải ra cho sang đầu giờ lão nó là nó chỉ thọ thì cái bây sẽ đời mua cái công tệ bây sát sĩ thải bây làm mùa hè bây gì thằng này phun ta cho ít bia ít à ít trồng tu là bây mà sĩ thải là tao giờ bây cho lão nó là nó chỉ thọ sẽ được sát sĩ thải này thọ sẽ được là một chế trong giàu tuần diễn là năm mùa giờ ít từ congressman là ít từผู้แทน nhất cho koom cầu chua là giờ district cầu chua nhất cho California New York congressman Jeff Denham.
I would like to at this time invite up our next speaker, that is Congressman Jeff Denham from California's 19th district. So Congressman Jeff Denham, if you could come on up, please.
I'm humbled to be here to honor a brave warrior and celebrate the life of General Vang Pao. It's remarkable to see such a huge crowd, not only from the Fresno community, but also worldwide. General Vang Pao has influenced the Hmong community, Americans, and had a worldwide presence. General Pao's legacy was his desire to improve the world in which he lived. I'm a veteran of the Air Force, and in the Air Force I learned the value of service before self. Service before self is the cornerstone of every branch of the military. I still hold this value as a member of Congress. General Vang Pao believed in the same value of service before self. Throughout his entire life, he focused on improving the lives of those around him. He worked as a farmer. He joined the French army and fought in the First Indochina War. He served to protect his homeland. He continued to protect his homeland during the Vietnam War. He served in the Royal National Army, led 39,000 guerrilla warriors. He fought to prevent the spread of communism and to fight for democracy. He served to protect the lives of American soldiers. He led efforts to cut off the Ho Chi Minh Trail, to prevent supplies from being utilized to fuel the enemy's war efforts, and aided American soldiers provided aid and support to downed American pilots, defended American outposts, and his leadership led to saving thousands of lives of U.S. service members. His dedication and service earned him distinguished titles such as Lord Protector of the Country by the last King of Laos, a hero in both the Hmong community and the United States. After General Pao's military career, he focused on helping the Hmong community. He worked to develop schools in his countryside of Laos to teach children, worked to unite the Hmong tribes and community, and in 1975 immigrated to the United States, where he was dedicated to developing U.S.-Lao relations. He arranged for the settlement of over 200,000 Hmong immigrants in the United States. The influence of General Vang Pao is monumental. He relentlessly worked to improve the lives of Hmongs and Americans. He's a revolutionary leader in the Hmong community, the United States of America, and worldwide. His legacy will be everlasting. It reflects his leadership and his accomplishments. Most of all, it reflects his service to his country and community. General Vang Pao is more than an iconic leader. He's a hero to those who fight for democracy. Thank you.
Tunzi na namo molumbe hua hiu toba ni ya itu wa holu to chongfu Lataban America ya dhau. The next speaker is Hughes Tova, former United States Central Intelligence Agent.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be here with you. I appreciate being invited to participate in this very important day in the life of the Hmong community. This occasion was sad, but we're here to say goodbye to a very dear friend and comrade. At the same time, it's a wonderful occasion because we're here with the entire Hmong community to rejoice with love and pride at the achievements of General Vang Pao. Now, many wonderful things have been said today by people who know him very, very well, all who love him dearly. I'm going to say only a few comments about how I knew him during the war, the last years of the war, and how we experienced life together. The way he commanded troops was the thing that was most important to me then. And he affected the general pattern of combat in the Indochina War in many important ways. As you know, the NVA tried to get Laos in a grip of control. The heavy focus was in the northeastern part of Laos, the Hmong homelands where you all lived. But by the time I came into the picture, it was no longer a guerrilla war, as you will hear about from Bill there. It was a heavily organized force that Vang Pao commanded. His troops were in battalions and regiments, very large. The Vietnamese, North Vietnamese, had even larger forces than against his regiments. They had 3 infantry divisions. More and more we had to call upon our own U.S. Air Force to help out, to support the ground troops in the course of the ground combat. The war waged back and forth across the territory where many of you lived and tried to raise your crops and your families. You know more about that than I do. You lived and suffered through it for many years, and Vang Pao, I know, shared your sufferings every day of his life. In the summer of 1971, an important development took place in Laos. His army drove all the way across the plain de Jars from his own area of Longchen eastward to the mountains on the far side. It was a remarkable achievement. The enemy suffered badly during that time, and Vang Pao was very proud. We were all proud of him because he accomplished something that nobody believed he could do. Well, with the plain de Jars under control, he built up his forces in defensive positions all around the plain and the mountains to the east. He put his army, his artillery in strong defensive positions, protecting his ground forces. The front became very quiet then for a while. The quiet did not last long. On the 17th of December, 1971, all hell broke loose in Laos. The North Vietnamese attacked from the east with everything they had across the entire front. Their long-range artillery gave them a great advantage in protecting their ground forces. Some units began to falter, some broke down. After some days, some actually broke and ran. It was a terrible event. The Air Force was not very helpful. We had very little air support. The allowed Air Force T-28s were shot down because it looked like a very disastrous situation. As we all pulled back from the plain to the east, to the west rather, to the fortified area of Longchen, it quieted down a little bit, and General was able to get his forces into a more defensive position there, and it didn't look good no matter how we did. It was not safe in Longchen either, because the North Vietnamese artillery, long-range artillery, was pouring in from the east. And it was, the Hmong civilians were also pouring in for refuge and protection in the valley. And the situation kept getting worse and worse. By 2 more weeks, we lost control of our forces. And worse still, we couldn't find General Vang Pao. He doesn't sit back with his troops out in combat. He's up with them in front. And he was with them all over the area. I thought it was the end of the world. It seemed like we were finished in northern Laos. So I flew directly up to Longchen, and I talked with the surviving officers. What should we do next? We didn't know what to do. We had to find him. So I got into a helicopter and began looking for him. We went flying each place where he'd last been seen or heard from. Each one of these mountaintops was in the middle of rain and mist and cold. It was miserable weather. We finally found him on a mountaintop in a tent surrounded by a few of his officers. His face was down, his jaws were so, his eyes were red. He was sick, obviously a sick man. We sat down before the fire. Well, then he got me sitting there. He began to pound on me because we had not given him enough air support. And he was right. We didn't give him enough. We didn't have it. But we talked that over, and we were so friends. So I knew that I had to get him out of there and get him into a hospital because I was afraid he was going to die there with me. So got him into a plane. We went back to Longchen. That was not good. We sent him over to Udon to the hospital. And he had a very bad case of pneumonia. The doctor said, this man has go to bed. He can't do anything. He mustn't move here for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I thought, my God, there's the war. Well, he went to bed. I said goodbye to him, and we flew back to Longchen, to Vientiane. In 3 days, he was up. He shouldn't have been up. He should have been carried, but he was up there, and he went all the way to Longchen, and he had things to do. He reorganized his forces, went to work getting them fitted out, not to rest and take it easy, but to get ready for more war. He called me and said, look, come up here, I have a plan. He had a plan. I said, plan, my God, what kind of a plan could we possibly have? But he had a plan, and he wanted me to listen to it. how to put this? The reason I'm telling you these details, is to show you what kind of a man he was in the face of trouble and danger and disaster, and how he inspired his soldiers in ways that few generals ever have been able to do. He said, here's the plan. I've got the fruit collected. We're going to go down to south of Longchen to a place called Pakao and Padong, and we're going to mount a force and move it on the ground south of the Plain de Jars, all the way over to the eastern rim, slowly. No resupply, no telephone contact, no attempt to get in touch with the enemy. Just move, keep moving all the way over. This is classical combat. I said, my God, how can we do this? We don't have the men. Yes, we do have the men, he said. He said, they're okay. He said, these men must work. If they're soldiers, they cannot sit still. If they sit still, they get bored, they go home to their families. So I said, but how we can support them? We can do it, we can do it. We don't need the weapons, we need the men on the ground. So they went. We got them ready. He moved forth on the ground. In the forest, the area south of the plain, these forested, they were really quite invisible. They went slowly, slowly on. And nothing, it was very quiet. No shots, no combat, nothing. Then we began to listen to the North Vietnamese communications. It was very interesting. The North Vietnamese knew something was going on. They said, something is happening. What is it? What is he trying to do? We didn't tell them. Another day or two, and then maybe in a week, the Vietnamese communications indicated that the Vietnamese were pulling their own troops out of the positions surrounding Long Chen. Now, there were 22 battalions surrounding Long Chen when we began this movement. They were moving out, slowly moving out. And it went on this way for the next 2 weeks, slowly, very slowly, and unlike a military situation. But by the time Vang Pao, we knew from calculating on the map where he was on the south end of the plain, and he was on the left wing of the Vietnamese, very close to their rear area. And by that time, radios told us that the North Vietnamese had moved half of their forces, 11 battalions, all the way back off the plain, across the plain, and down the back. Well, in effect, the war was over. They gave up their perfectly good position, and they had no strength, and they had an enemy force, our force, 5,000 men on their left flank. It was a disastrous. Much to you, but a couple of weeks after this, the ambassador and I flew over to Saigon to talk to General Abrams, the commander of Communist Mech B. We were asking for more air support. And we had an idea. We invited General Abrams to come over to Laos secretly, come up with us to meet General Vang Pao, whom he had never met. So we got up there, and General Abrams was very interested because he heard about Vang Pao, but didn't believe all the things he heard. And we introduced the generals together and sat down, had lunch, and talked a bit. Then the two generals went off to walk. They went off to walk around, inspect the forces, and fool around as generals do. And they came back, and we quietly said goodbye, so on. And I took General Abrams back then to Vientiane, and he got me aside and he said, look, I want to tell you something. He said, General Vang Pao, Major General Vang Pao, is a major general as good as any I have ever seen in my army or any other army. He said, if you don't need him, lend him to me. I can use him. I said, well, that's very nice. I said, thank you, General. Just give us some more air support. We'll be happy. So that was the end of that. We went back, and General Vang Pao afterwards was very, very happy. We were very happy. And I could go on this for hours talking to you about what he did in the face of fire. He was a great soldier, a natural soldier, and a great and good man. He was a hero, really. He was your hero. You know he was your hero. We wouldn't all be here now. But he was my hero, too. I loved every day I went to work with him. It was almost fun to work with General Vang Pao. I can still hear his voice. As you know, he had a voice that carried through the wall, and a very powerful voice. And when he said, yeah, come on, let's go, charge, you went. And it was that kind of a man. It was a great blessing and a privilege to me to have been able to work with him. And now all I can say is thank you for inviting me here to share these few moments with you, and may God rest his soul in peace. Good afternoon.
từ yo là hai luồng chỉ mùi ya bèo lè nì ít từ thấu và hồi đã bê chỉ thằng này muốn tới xí mà vấn đề nì là hai nì bê cho ít cái video li xia na thì đã bê sẽ được sai cho nì mà lo.
Ladies and gentlemen, I understand our next speaker is going to be coming up in just a few minutes, and he also was with the Central Intelligence Agency back in the 60s. However, prior to me inviting him to take the stage, I understand there was a 7-minute video that they will be playing. So if you can direct your attention to one of the video screens that is nearby, we'll go ahead and play the video, and then we will invite our next speaker.
Succeeded in recapturing large portions of Samnur province from the communists. Who is this man who has almost become a legend in his own time? He is a small, mild-mannered soldier, only 35 years old. But he personally has a most incredible record of bravery and adventure gained in fighting for the freedom of his people and his country. He was born in Ban Phu Kong Khao, Laos, July 4th, 1930, the son of a minor official of the government. His childhood up until 1945 was normal for a male Lao youth of that era. In early 1945, he was a schoolboy when the attempted Free French coup against the Japanese took place. Many of the male tribesmen under their chief, Tubi Li Fong, supported the French. When the French entered Laos in force to restore their control, though only 13 years old, Vang Pao left school to serve his people. He served as a scout, collecting information on Japanese troops, which allowed Tubi and others to escape capture. At the end of the Second World War, the Viet Minh revolt against the French erupted. The Mao sided with the French against the Vietnamese, who, all through recent history and until the present, have tried to dominate their home region in northeastern Laos. At first, the young adventurer served as an interpreter for the French troops fighting the Viet Minh invaders and their Pathet Lao satellites. In 1946, he joined the column which marched from Nong Het to Luang Prabang and liberated the king who had been imprisoned by a group of Pathet Lao and Chinese. In 1947, Tubi Li Fong wished to reward his services by preparing him for a government career, but having tasted adventure, the young man would be nothing but a soldier. Therefore, Tubi arranged his appointment to the gendarmerie, and at the age of 17, he found himself in command of a 12-man squad of males in the service of the Royal Lao government. This same year, he was sent for training in Luang Prabang, and in 1948, he attended another 6-month NCO course in Vientiane. By 1949, he was a sergeant-chef, commanding a 34-man male platoon. In 1950, he greatly distinguished himself when his platoon was sent to the Nam Mo area, which for 2 years the French had unsuccessfully tried to wipe out a mixed Viet Minh Pathet Lao company. Contacting loyal males, Vang Pao surrounded the house where 13 Viet Minh, including the company commander, were staying. He attacked, killing 7 and capturing 3 prisoners. He also captured a notebook giving the list of the Pathet Lao agents whom he had just liquidated. Thus, he thwarted the Viet Minh plan for infiltrating and taking over the entire area. As a result, he was recommended for an officer's school, which he attended all through 1951 and 52. In 1953, aspirant Vang Pao was third in command of the 40th Independent Company, made up of males. That same summer, a government battalion of Hmong was routed by the Viet Minh. Vang Pao's company joined the remnants at Monghin, which by October was completely surrounded by the Vietnamese communist troops. A breakout to the plain de Dhau was planned, but most of the troops threw away their arms and fled in small groups. Vang Pao took 74 males of his company and a few French and struck out truly armed for the plain de Dhau. After 10 days, in spite of all assistance, the Frenchmen gave out. Vang Pao arranged with friendly males to hide them. Then he split his command into small groups and, avoiding the Viet Minh, made his way out of the area. 10 days later, the entire group, including the French, reassembled without casualties and made their way to Pusan, where they rejoined the Lao armed forces. This action greatly increased his reputation, and the company had been believed to be completely wiped out. In recognition, in early 1954, he was made a full lieutenant and given a permanent command of his unit, now renamed the 4th Special Commando Company. He served in combat with his force until the conclusion of the Indochina War. During the lull in the fighting, 1954 through 1957, he served in the FAR, rising rapidly to the rank of major. He commanded, at the time, the 2nd Commando Group, which consisted of 18 companies of mail in Sam Nua and Zhengquang provinces. These were the nucleus of the powerful forces which today form the first line of defense and the main bulwark of the Royal Army and the government against the People's Army of Vietnam and their Pathet Lao lackeys. As the fighting increased, Vang Pao's forces took a more and more active part, and he quickly earned his general's stars. Time and again, by cutting their line of communications and attacking their bases and supply depots, Vang Pao and his men frustrated the communist plans and enabled the Lao forces to turn back major offensives. Regularly, he has proved that the communists are not the only master of guerrilla warfare. Repeatedly, his fierce tribesmen, fighting for their freedom and traditional way of life under his skilled leadership, have recorded victories with exactly those tactics which made General Giep's Viet Minh forces so formidable. During his adventurous career, this doughty little warrior has earned no less than 17 decorations. Almost all of them were given directly for bravery and exceptional combat performance. There has been no lack of brave and talented men in Laos to guard that small country's independence through the years of unrelenting communist attack. Yet it is hard to see how Laos could have been thus far saved without Vang Pao and his thousands of staunch anti-communist male fighters. The end.
At this time, we would like to call up our next speaker, Bill Lair. He is a former United States Central Intelligence agent. Bill Lair. Tu yala do tande na nilun be ho Bill Lair ya aku thola ni ya itu nya tra ho la cha CIA e ya phong yun da thane phong Vang Pao be thele tao tha ka ni la hai lo. Tu ta ta la shuna ya Bill Lair.
Hello. I'm very honored to be here to speak to my old friends, the Hmong people. When I graduated from college, I had already been a soldier in World War II, and I was recruited by the CIA. By the CIA. I'd never heard of the CIA, and but I agreed to go to work for them because I didn't yet have a job getting out of college, and then I went up to Washington and went through training and all, and when I finished the training, they called me into the headquarters and said, "We're going to send you to Thailand, and we want you to train the people out there to fight guerrilla warfare, because the army is very small now. We can't send the army out there to fight the communists, so we need to teach the local people to fight guerrilla warfare against the communists." And for a young man that had never been there before, had never seen anybody, it sounded like a pretty tall order, for me. But I went out and I started working with the Thais, and I trained these young Thai boys who were really terrific, so I created a unit there that was like, I think they were like the U.S. Special Forces before we had Special Forces. And then the war in Laos started. We knew that this was where the communists were going. And I knew that we needed to go to Laos. Excuse me. Whoops. So I started putting the teams from this unit along the Lao border, and we talked to the people on the other side, and the people on the Thai side of the river and on the Lao side of the river were basically the same people. So we talked about what is going on in Laos among the people, not the Lao government, the ordinary people. And they all talked about it, and the name of Vang Pao came up, and they said Vang Pao was a good fighter, and the people in Laos believed him, and they believed that he would be the man who would fight the communists. So I knew that I had to find some way to meet Vang Pao, but I didn't know how to do it. So I went back to the U.S. Embassy. They didn't know anything, but then they finally said that General Pumi, the commander of the Lao Army, was in Samaniket. He had fled to Samaniket when Kong Lee made the coup in Laos. And what they said was that he had 5 battalions in Samaniket, and that that all of the money that belonging to the Lao government was in the banks in Bangkok, because they didn't trust any bank in Laos. So they said they needed to send some money up there so Pumi could pay those 5 battalions salary, or they'd all have to go home because they didn't have the money to support their families. So when I heard all of this, I volunteered immediately to go up and take the money and give it to Pumi. I didn't know Pumi, never met him, but I knew if I arrived with a big bag of money, I would be acceptable, So I went up and met Pumi, and he said that he was going to retake Vientiane with these 5 battalions. So I asked him, I said, I have these Thai teams who have excellent radio communications, they have medical technicians. I would like to put a team with each one of your battalions while you go to retake Vientiane. Because I knew these Thai boys knew everything, they would do a good job. And he said, that's a good idea. And so they did, they went with him. And then as soon as they retook Vientiane, I went to Vientiane. And because I knew what I needed to do is to find Vang Pao, wherever he was. Nobody in Vientiane knew where he was. And so I stayed around there for several days, and I went to the airport every day to see if I could get any news of him. And finally, the same pilot who had taken me to Savannakhet came in, and he said that he had seen Vang Pao that day. In fact, he had met him at this village, and he had brought his family to Vientiane because he wanted to send them to safety in Vientiane. And he showed me where he was located, and it just happened that these 4 helicopters, American helicopters, had just landed in Vientiane. So I knew I hoped I could get one of those helicopters. So I went over and talked to the pilots, and they said, we can't go anywhere. We don't know anything about the country. We have no maps. We can't go. But I said, you know, I know this country like the back of my hand. But I'd never been there either, of course, but I just lied to them and said so. But they didn't want to go, but I finally went to the embassy, and they said they finally agreed to let me use a helicopter. And, you know, I'd never been up there, but I had a map, and I knew how to read the map, so we flew up there, and by the time we got up there, it was already starting to get dark, and we landed at this, I could see where they had built this strip where that helio courier landed. So I got out and ran over, and there was only one man standing near where we landed, and he was a Hmong fellow, and I asked him, is Vang Pao here? Oh, said, yeah, he's around here somewhere. But it was starting to get dark, and they had ordered me to be sure and get back, so I ran back and asked the Thai team, Colonel Purnett was the leader, are you all willing to stay here and try to find Vang Pao? Well, no, you know, they didn't know where they were. They'd never been there before. But he said, oh, sure, no problem. So I left him there, and I flew back to Vientiane. And it just happened that the director of the CIA had arrived that day, and they left word at the embassy for me to go to the chief of station's house. And I had dinner with him, and I just told him what had happened that day. And they said, well, come on into the embassy tomorrow morning and we'll talk about it. So I went there, and he told me to sit down and write a cable about everything I had said the night before. So I wrote this 18-page cable that went to Washington, and then I waited, but then the answer came back and said that they were willing to arm the first 1,000 Hmong. And so then I went back up to ask Vang Pao, you know, what we wanted to do, what we could do. So he told us where he wanted to drop the arms. But I say I had that Thai team there, and they all started walking to try to get to, they wanted to do it at Padang. And it would take them 2 or 3 days to get there. So then I arranged to get the weapons ready that we could drop in there whenever they got to Padang. So they finally got there, and we dropped the first weapons, and we armed those people. And I believed that the Hmong would be good fighters, and so immediately when we got them armed, I was up there, and we knew then that the enemy was coming up the trail to where we had dropped those weapons because they saw the parachutes dropping. So then those Hmong, there was I think it was 300 Hmong that we had armed. They all went out to set up an ambush for those people who were coming up. And you know, the big battle occurred. None of the Hmong people got hurt at all, but they killed a lot of the enemy, and they all ran away back down the mountain. And I never saw anybody as happy as the Hmong were, because they'd had this great success. And that's how the war started. And it turned out so successful that then we began to drop the weapons until we armed the first 10,000 men. And they fought extremely well. And see, what happened is the communists believed that they had North Laos. But after these battles, they realized they did not have North Laos, that the Hmong still were still there and controlled almost all of North Laos. So it was a complete change in the war. It was so successful that the things that the Hmong had done there, and it gave them, they began to believe that they could successfully fight the communists. And that's what you need to do, is to believe in yourself. And then we continued to arm the Hmong until we actually ended up with a 35,000-man guerrilla army that fought exceptionally well. But then what always happens in the United States is that you have the problems of whichever party is in power. If you come to a big election, the other side will attack them because of the war that they're involved in. That's what they always do, no matter which side. So I think at that time the Democrat Party was in power, and the Republicans began to attack. So the U.S. government become afraid. They decided to pull out of Southeast Asia, and they decided they could make a peace treaty with the communists, and everything would be nice. But if you knew anything, you knew that's not true, that it would not be, because the communists never stuck to any treaty of any kind they ever had. They just didn't do it. So then they began to attack the Hmong. And when all the Americans left Laos, then the Hmong became frightened. They didn't know what to do, so that's when they all ran away and went to Thailand. And then they were trying to decide, the American government was trying to decide what to do, because you had those thousands of Hmong pouring into Thailand. And then they made the decision to let the Hmong come to the U.S. And I was involved in all of that, but I think if you look back, it's turned out, they asked me before they decided to let the Hmong come here. They asked me, how do you think the Hmong will do in the U.S.? Because most of them can't speak English. They don't have education. How will they do in the U.S.? I think they'll do fine, because I said the Hmong, while they may not have education, they are extremely bright people. They learn everything more quickly than any other people I've ever met. And so I don't believe they'll have any trouble in the U.S. I think they'll do fine. So they decided to let the Hmong come here. And, it turned out, that I was right. And the Hmong, you can see by what's happened today, the Hmong have done extremely well. They're now good citizens of the U.S. And I think everybody is very glad that they're here, and I think they are glad they're here also. So I believe that we've had a very happy ending to what could have been a very sad story. And I'm very happy for whatever role I might have played in what has happened to the Hmong. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to tell you what I think today. Thank you.
Lô tần đây na tới xã hội ít tu nọ chứ như tu nhớ được cái lúc sáng Minnesota tua như lúc về hoa John Harrington như tôi kể đấy tua như tua là hải ở bên là lục thiên nọ. Next, I would like to call up our next speaker. He is State Senator John Harrington from Minnesota's 67th District. So if we can have State Senator John Harrington, please make your way to the stage.
My name is John Harrington. I'm the retired Chief of Police for the City of St. Paul and a Minnesota State Senator from District 67. Has come to represent this day for me. It's a saying that is etched under a lion at the Police Memorial in Washington, D.C. It says, it's not how a man dies that makes him a hero. It's how he lives. By all measures, General Vang Pao was a hero. Whether in war or in peace, in business or in government, in family matters, or simply telling a good story, he was a hero. I had the pleasure of sitting at his table for almost 25 years. Most of that time I sat with great awe and great affection for the man. I was truly very fortunate to have gotten to know him because he was a mentor for me and a guide. You see, I grew up in leadership under the General's watchful eye. He taught me about courage, he taught me about vision, and he taught me about persistence. He taught me well, and that is a big part of why I had success as the Chief of Police for the City of St. Paul. And I know that if I am successful in the State Senate, it will be because I am continuing to follow the lessons that General Vang Pao taught me. I have two letters that I'd like to read in brief. First, from the City of St. Paul, a proclamation. Whereas for over a decade, General Vang Pao served to protect his people and nation in the Kingdom of Laos from foreign aggression, having attained the rank of Major General and commissioned in the Royal Army of Laos by King Suab, and whereas in partnership with the United States government and military, General Vang Pao committed to help fight foreign aggression in Laos in 1960 and would lead the Hmong and Lao in the Vietnam War for the next 2 decades. And whereas General Vang Pao paved the way for several of his fellow Hmong across the United States after the war, to include founding the first non-profit social service organization